Now, I know what everyone is saying. They're saying, Sever, where have you been? What are you doing? The season is upon us. Give me a break, okay? Okay, give me a break in that Kit Kat bar, okay? I have been covering basketball for an entire year. If you count the last 2 summers, I've been covering basketball for 3 years. Because that's not true. If you count the bubble, I have been covering basketball for 4 years consecutively without a break on YouTube. So you know what? If I want to take a week off to sit here and pull off V-triggers with Kenny Omega in every consecutive wrestling game I can think of, then by George, I am going to do that. And in case anyone is wondering, my obsession with Kenny Omega has reached a fever pitch, but that's not here nor there. Okay, so as I continue to take a little bit of a break before the NBA season starts, like Jesus Christ on ice, we get like a week in between the WNBA finals and NBA basketball, because again, the preseason is just not canon to me. So excuse me if I want to take some time off. 4 years consecutively covering basketball. There's no off season for me, but that's not here nor there. And shout out to all the content creators who cover both the WNBA and the NBA. And God help us if there's the Olympics. You know what I mean? It has been nonstop basketball. So I'm gonna take a week off every now and again. But let's get to the shenanigans. What did we learn from the preseason? What did we learn? What are all of our takeaways? Everyone leave down below. What are your takeaways from the preseason? What did you learn? What are you bringing forth into later on this week when we get into the shenanigans, when the season officially starts and these games become canon? Let me know your thoughts down below, because y'all know I'm finna give you my thoughts right now. I think our identity defensively is going to be general hustle, right? General hustle. We are on that John Cena mode, except you can't actually see us. We are on that hustle, loyalty, and respect. Well, maybe not the loyalty part, but there will be respect involved indeed. We are on John Cena clock where it is strictly hustle. I believe that the Nets are going to do all those neat and cute little buzz terms, whereas we're going for the 50-50 balls and all that cute stuff, basically all the get after it shenanigans that you would say in a post-game interview if you were a coach. That is what we are. Fighting for 50-50 balls. You know what? We'll call it, because there's got to be a shorter version of it. We'll call it getting after it. That is our defensive identity. We are getting after it. We got a bunch of people on the roster who are going to fight, who are going to do their best to make sure that we're having as many possessions as possible, and, locking people up on the perimeter and the interior. We are good defensively on just about every front. So even when we have individuals who aren't really known for their defense, they're able to step up and buy in because everyone else is so locked in on the defensive end, if you will. I mean, top to bottom, with the exception of really Cam Thomas, just about everyone is committed to playing defense, which again, Cam seems to be going along with the shenanigans as well. When Cam Johnson comes back, we already know allegedly he's 3-and-D. We're good to go. Royce O'Neal being the vet, which is a little bit insane to me. But Dorian Smith and Royce O'Neal technically being our vets, sure. We'll see how that goes. It looks like children leading children to me, but maybe I'm just a salty old man, but that's not here to there. So it is good to see that our identity on the defensive end seems to be locked in and ready to go. You got Ben Simmons in rare form. Everything looks great. The only issue to me is offensively. We have no identity whatsoever outside of Ben Simmons pushes the pace. Because I don't know about you, but even in the Heat game, and we can barely say the Heat. We can barely say the Heat because it was Bam Adebayo and a bunch of nobodies. If we're gonna keep it all the way a bean, I don't know who any of those individuals were outside of Bam Adebayo. So if I'm supposed to be impressed by that, excuse me for not caring. Shout out to them for winning a game, of course, but excuse me for not being impressed by that win. But that's not here nor there. outside of Ben Simmons pushing the pace, who are we? Like, you can't even say like, oh, and Mikal Bridges ISOs, because I don't really see it. It's really just Ben Simmons runs down the court as fast as possible, and you kick it out to whoever is open. And occasionally, Spencer Dinwiddie is going to try to get Claxton involved for a dunk or two. Jacques Vaughn has successfully implemented his idea of literal run and gun. Remember the cute stuff we used to do on 2K back in the day where you just run the fast break as quickly as possible, get the ball to whoever's open and either launch it or go to the rim? That's basically what Jacques Vaughn does. He's playing NBA 2K15, and it is just adorable that he thinks that that is a form of offense. Now, I will say that there are times where I see some off-ball movement, a couple screens, and people are getting open. Jacques Vaughn seems to be drawing some type of play this year. Now, I couldn't tell you what it is because I'm not an X's and O's guy, but I will give credit where credit is due. Jacques is out there running some type of an offense. To me, it looks like it's just a bunch of fast breaks to me, but there are times where they are in a half-court set, and something's going on. I can't put my finger on it, but some type of action seems to be going on. It normally leads to a contested mid-range shot, or someone is magically open along the arc and they miss it. Normally, that's what seems to be the case. There's also like this random backdoor cut option that seems to be open every single time. I'm not sure why we don't just drop it to Dayron or lob it up to, Nicholas, but that's not here or there. Whatever this little action that Jacques Vaughn runs in the half court, it's just nice to see them running something. So I will give him that. It is not a complete poop show like last year where there was no plan whatsoever. I just don't really see much of an identity outside of push the pace. And push the pace is not a game plan. Now, when we're going up against teams with dominant centers, which if we keep it a thaui, the teams that tend to do the most or who are perceived to be the most challenging normally have a dominant center. Now, you have your outliers like, say them, Bam Adebayo's a dominant center, I guess. I guess with the exception of the Boston Celtics, because I don't fear KP, but that's just me. And for those of you who don't know, that's Kristaps Porzingis. I don't fear that man, quite honestly. And Al Horford has got to be 111 at this point. So I don't fear their bigs, but with the exception of the Celtics, just about every good team has that dominant center. I believe that's why the Grizzlies are a little bit concerned because Steven Adams went down, and I believe Steven Adams is on the Grizzlies. If I got that wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that's why they're upset. And you hear the rumblings of a Dwight Howard coming back into the league, but that's not here nor there. Just about every major team has some form of a big man who's gonna make it difficult for everyone. You've got your Giannis's, your Jokic's, your Joel Embiid's of the world and such. Normally, those are the tippy top teams that you need to be concerned about. Take it over to the Western Conference a little further. You got Anthony Davis when he's actually out there. That piece of glass individual, like, you know what I mean? Like, so those are the teams where you're wondering, what are we going to do, right? Like, you can't just run the fast break on them and think the situation's going to handle itself. We have seen firsthand what happens when you try that stuff against, let's say, a team like the Milwaukee Bucks, right? You got to get past Bobby, which I can't believe we're mentioning Bobby Portis amongst elite players. I don't know when that started, but that's not here or there. But when you're going up against your Brook Lopez's and stuff like that, which the growth of Brook Lopez is incredible. And I know that I am not allowed to talk trash about that man because he's a Brooklyn Nets legend. But it is just very interesting to me that we have conversations about who's like the best defender in the league, and somehow Brook Lopez keeps coming to, it's insane the turnaround and career genesis that this man is having. I mean, a lot like Jason Kidd, where towards the end he was just a 3-point knockdown shooter up there with Kyle Korver, and it's like, Jason Kidd, but that's not there. These are the teams that we're going to have to be concerned about just doing this run down the court and see what happens. Even Triple J, the though he is not a real center, he's more of a 4. You know, we gotta be concerned about these things. Like, what are we gonna do when what's homie's name? Zion comes to town. Again, not a center, not particularly tall, but someone's going to have to check him. And no offense, but I don't think Royce O'Neal and Finney Smith is going to be enough. I'm going to just be honest with you. I'm going to just keep it being with you. And shout out to Finney Smith for hitting threes. Hopefully that transitions over to the season, but that's not here there. I'm just a little bit concerned about that offensively. Because to be able to properly drive and kick, that would imply that Ben Simmons is going to have to be able to get into the paint. And while Ben is a very strong fellow, and while he hasn't seemed to be showing any signs of not being able to, we haven't really been playing any serious competition, so I'm just a little bit concerned about that. When it is clear and it is obvious that all we have to do is just build a wall and stop Ben Simmons from getting to the point, Lord knows he won't hit a foul shot, I don't know what that means for our offense. Again, you can ISO Mikal at some point if you want to fall back on that, but it seems very clear and very apparent that that's not what we're doing. Now, there are going to be times at the end of the shot clock where you got Spencer Dinwiddie dancing around the arc or something like that, and he'll take a contested fadeaway 3 that, you know, might go in and it's cool, or he'll airball it and, you know, boom, we've lost the possession entirely. I just think there are glaring issues. I think there are glaring issues offensively that we can sit here and pretend like are not an issue. I'm just trying to put the pieces together. Now, something that could easily break all this, which honestly is, and again, I'm using words like break, something that can break this whole stagnation, if you will, with our offense is just playing Cam Thomas. Easy way to fix it. Because it seems to me from the preseason games I've watched that the solution is to just put Lonnie Walker in there and watch him hoist up a bunch of threes and or get to the paint, and the situation solves itself. Now, I am not an anti-Lonnie Walker individual. I'm just at the standpoint where I just feel like we can't just crack the glass on him and think that's going to solve all of our problems. If you notice I'm pacing back and forth, it's because I magically have to pee now, and I really haven't gotten to the main point of the video yet, but I just don't want us to get to a situation where we're just cracking the glass on Lonnie Walker. I feel like there are multiple other options that we can look towards to try and get this thing off. And even when you talk about other alternatives other than a Ben Simmons, I don't particularly care for this man, but Spencer Dinwiddie is another option. If you just tell him, hey, go back to what you were doing, he can distribute, he can drive and kick, he can call some attention around the three-point arc and kick it over to Mikal. Even Mikal himself is capable of handling the ball and starting some form of action that the Nets clearly seem to have. Now, what it is, I haven't figured it out yet, but the Nets clearly seem to have. Even Dennis Smith Jr., assuming he's not like super hurt, we all know what he's capable of when he gets to yamming. And he allegedly plays defense too. Oh my God, I have to pee. Listen! I'm going to go pee real quick. Just know that the point of this video is I think they suck offensively, but we're going to be great on defense. Let me know down below what your thoughts, Jesus, let me know what your thoughts are down below on what we are going to do this season. I have to pee so bad, my God. I will see y'all in the middle of the week to go over our first official game in the NBA season. Welcome back to Nets Republic. Oh my God, I got to pee. Sever the bond. Subscribe on here for another season of shenanigans. Let's go Nets. Oh my God, I gotta pee. Oh God. Ah!